My goal, that's a big one for me, and maybe it's wishful thinking. But my goal is for me to be out of a job. And to be honest, is so that I know that people are thriving. What I mean by thriving is actually know where to go, know where to get services, know that when they're walking into a doctor's office that they're being well accepted by who they are without questions. Knowing that when a person who's LGB or somebody who's HIV positive is not being stigmatized anymore, not looked down on as like this disgrace of a disease, which is untrue.
A mystery disease known as the gay plague has become an epidemic unprecedented in the history of American medicine.
Acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or AIDS, started as an exclusively gay disease. This depression of the immune system can lead to a rare form of cancer, Kaposi sarcoma, which shows up as those purplish spots. This cancer has a death rate of 80% 2 years after diagnosis.
At that time, it was a death sentence. That's what we knew. In the beginning, I literally lay down in bed and just kind of waited to die because there was no other recourse. We knew what was going to happen. Everybody did. I buried a lot of people, most everybody that I knew. It was just a horrible time, very, very frightening. There was nowhere to turn. Nobody trusted you. Nobody wanted to touch you. Nobody understood what this whole thing was all about. And of course, it was cast upon the gay community.
I remember one night being out there on the block, and I was only 8th grade, very young. This trick came, and then I went and I jumped in his car, and then I got arrested. And when I got arrested, my mom came to pick me up from jail. And then all I remember is pulling up to Zippy's, and I'm seeing my dad's truck, and I'm like, oh crap, here we go. My dad's this big Samoan guy, and I am petrified. And my mom was like, okay, we gotta talk. So she looks at me and she's like, tell him. You have to be the one to tell him. Tell him. And I was like, Dad, I am trans. And he's like, what? What is that? So my mom was like, you know what? Our son is no longer a son. Our son is a daughter now. Your daughter got arrested for prostitution as a girl, not a boy. He was like, hell no. And he didn't want nothing to do with me.
As much as I see so much progress, I still see that stigma. We've been doing off-site testing, and we had a booth right up at the front, and it, clearly said National HIV Testing Day, free testing. And I saw tons of people, as soon as they saw HIV, they wanted to walk the other way.
STI and HIV services aren't really easy to come by. On the neighbor islands, we are lacking resources. It's not as plentiful as compared to what's going on in Oahu. So us neighbor islands really have to fend for ourselves in a lot of ways and offer the services where we can.
It was some time later when I realized that I wasn't dying. Eventually, I got up and shook myself off and looked in the mirror, and I thought, well, I got to do something. The closest person in my family was my sister-in-law, my oldest brother's wife. And it was actually after my dad's funeral. And when she came over and she goes, what's going on? And I just told her. That was it. I had to. I couldn't keep hiding this from the family any longer, and I just had to muster up the strength. I mean, if the closest person that I love dearly in my family rejected me, I'm assuming the rest of the family would have just followed suit. And that was one of the most frightening things to me. She took me aside and she said, you know what, let's get through today. And tomorrow we're gonna sit down and talk. Just that right there made me feel just a huge weight, because she was willing to sit down with me and talk to me and be with me and wanting to know what was going on instead of just pushing me away.
My grandparents were loving people, and my grandparents were never that type of people to judge. I remember my grandma buying like bathing suits for like my sisters. She used to be like, try it on. I used to be like, yay! And I thought I looked so cute. Girl, I was like, Baywatch, Pamela Anderson, come through. Without my grandparents, I don't think I would be able to survive.
Not only are we a safe space for folks, we try to be with our representation and how we try to listen to our patients and clients. We really want to try to understand where they're coming from and make sure that they feel like seen.
If we can get that one person in, make that first person feel safe, and let them know that we're here, we can test them, and it will be painless, and we will actually hear their story of what's going on, and whether or not they want to share everything, that's okay. They can share as much as they want with us. We'll be here and we can listen to them and their story.
The girlfriend that he has now, my dad explained it to her in the beginning. Hey, so I have like 2 daughters, 1 son, and 1, and then so she's like, what? You have 1 what? And she's like, oh, is she Mahu? Please tell me she's Mahu. I hope so. I hope so. Please let her be Mahu. And he's like, oh yeah, she is. Well, he is. And she's like, oh my God, thank God. Thank God. I like you even more. So then my dad started to explore this whole entire world of me until one day, like I came home and then he was like, hey, daughter. And I was like, hey, sorry. And to hear him say that, it was just like a game changer for me.
When you get beyond the fact that you're dealing with something larger than just yourself, the only way that you can actually move forward was involving other people and being there for other people, allowing them to help you and helping them at the same time.
We all know Maui County is a very small island and communities are very close. And so for us as an agency, like we create that safe space. We provide a confidential space for people to share. Everything that client shares in our testing room stays with that person and that individual. If we can really help one person feel empowered, feel comfortable about what we can provide to them, they can tell their friends and their family to come in and know that we're a safe space for them as well.
We see everybody who walks through their door, regardless of their insurance status. If they don't have insurance, we'll see them and offer services as best as we can. We can get them connected with insurance. We really want everybody to come in and access our services.
There is a reason. There is a reason for me being here. I don't know, I can't explain it to you, but I'm gonna help you the best way that I possibly can. If that just means putting my arms around you and giving you a hug and saying, I'm not going anywhere, that's what it takes, because that's what people didn't have.
I wish that there was a time like where we didn't have to celebrate Pride. We can just celebrate humanity because there's no stigma. Celebrating the fact that folks who are getting trans healthcare can access gender-affirming care and not need services because they already know where to go or what to do, to a point where we completely eliminated HIV so that people can thrive and not worry and just live happy. If there's no stigma and if there's no nothing and people are actually surviving and thriving, oh my God, maybe I'll actually take that vacation in Tahiti.